Hey y'all, it's Betsy, and today we have a fun video. We're going to be testing out all the new makeup that I just purchased at Ulta and Sephora. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now I have already primed my eyelids using the Milani eyeshadow primer in Nude. That's an old product, so I didn't figure that you would want to see that. To start off with, I want to do a very bold eye look. So to do that, I'm using my tape, which this is just plain old Scotch tape. And typically how I do this is I just take and put it on my hands, get it where it's not so sticky, because whenever you are using this near your sensitive eye area, you want to make sure that you're not ripping your skin off. Because I have done that before by not getting this unsticky or de-sticking it, however you want to say that. But we just got back from the movies and I'm fixing to film a bunch of videos, so I needed to put on makeup, and you guys seem to like it when I do tutorials and try on hauls, so I figured that's what we would do today. So typically, as you can see, I just place it where I have nice, even, straight lines. So to start off, I think we're gonna use the Urban Decay Elementals palette, or Elements palette. I was super excited to get this one. I love the color story in this. So I figured that would be a fun one to play with. To start off, I am actually using my Jaclyn Hill Morphe brush set that I purchased for travel, but I just wanted to use it again in a video so you would know like every single brush and everything like that I'm using. So to start off, I'm going to grab the JH36 and we're going to jump right into the shade Antidote right here. It's just a good nude transition shade. And we're just gonna fluff that. Well, actually that is almost my skin color, so we'll use that to set the eyeshadow primer. And I'm bringing it all the way up to my brow bone, as you can see. I have a lot of eyelid discoloration, so I like to use something that has a little bit of color to it to almost make that more seamless, because right by my eyebrow is super pale compared to the rest of my eye. Now there is some kick up whenever you go into the eyeshadow so far, but it's nothing that I can't deal with. And typically that's part of the reason why I do my eyes first. 99% of the time when you see me, it has a bold eye look versus something that is a little bit more bland. Now I'm going to go into the shade Elemental right here, which is just a darker shade, warm tone, almost orangey brown, and this will work for my transition shade. Or at least I'm hoping it will. Oh yeah, that's going on good. I like that color. And the nice thing about this palette is there is like a good cool tone pink right here that is called Dreamweaver that would make a beautiful transition shade for if you're doing a cool tone look. Which part of the reason why I want to do a warm tone look is because I have a warm tone lipstick that I'm wanting to test out today. So there we go. And if you hear anything funny in the background, my husband is, while I'm filming this part, working on putting in network cable because we've been rearranging. We're hiring a couple more people. It's been so busy around here. I never expected it to get as busy as it is. Now, the one thing that I'm not too fond of with this palette is whenever you look, there is not a really deep brown that you can step up to next as far as deepening up your crease. So I think I'm going to, let me find a brush to use. That one's too small. Right here. I'm going to use the JH33 and we're going to go ahead and go into this shade Firestarter. Right here, it is a deeper reddish mauve shade, but it's still on the warm tone side. But it does have some glitter to it. But I think it will make a pretty transition for the eye look that I'm doing, just to deepen up that outer crease area. There we go. And typically for these videos, I don't do a lot of editing. If you're wanting, the reason being is I get people who are like, well, I don't have time to do it. Well, typically, even on a makeup look like this, it takes me roughly about 30-35 minutes. It's nothing major. And a lot of the time that it takes when I'm doing something like this on camera is the talking portion of it, guiding you through the steps that I'm doing. Now I think I'm going to deepen up that crease a little bit further. I'm going to use the JH40, which is just a tiny pointed brush, and I'm going to go ahead and go into the shade Lioness. It is a shimmer shade, but I think that it will work to deepen up the crease. Because as I said, I want something super dramatic. And I'm taking and packing that shade onto the outer V of my eye as well. Now, one thing about this shade is, I can tell you one thing I don't like already, is it does not pick up well with a brush. See, this is where I applied it with the brush, and there's not a lot of color payoff, but when I pick it up with my finger, there is a whole lot more color payoff. So we'll go ahead and pack it on with our finger, and then we'll blend out the edges with the brush. Okay, so that's better. But a lot of times with shimmers, they just perform better whenever you're using your finger. And Urban Decay is no exception to that. So I think that is where I'm going with that for now. What we're gonna go ahead and do is we're going to use one of my new liquid eyeshadows as an eyeshadow topper. And I think I'm going to go a little bit bold and go with the warm When Stars Align, this duochrome shade. I'm not sure if it'll pick up all the different shifts in it, from Wet n Wild. And these are $4.99. I love liquid eyeshadows. And one of the nice things about using a liquid eyeshadow versus a loose glitter is you can get some intense pigmentation. Oh, that's pretty. I think I'm gonna bring that actually all over the lid, even into that outer V. There we go. But you can get the look of a cut crease without actually having to do a cut crease, because sometimes cut creases take a whole lot of time, and mama ain't got time for that. When you're busy, you're busy. Ooh, I really like that shade with my eyes. It really makes my eyes look really, really green. And so far, so good. I mean, it is very, very pigmented. Very, very pigmented. It doesn't... There we go. So far, it's performing pretty well. It reminds me a lot of a Steel Glitter and Glow. It is not as sparkly, but that is not, I mean, typically when you're using a duochrome, you don't want it to be super glitter because then you won't be able to see the shift in the eyeshadow. And I'm sorry if the air conditioner's loud, but it's hot. We're supposed to have a little bit of cooler weather. And I'm using that same JH40 that I used for the darker shade, the lioness shade, to blend out the edges. I'm really loving this color. And for $5, you can't beat it. I mean, Wet n Wild, if you are looking for drugstore that performs always, for the most part, I have not had any issues using Wet n Wild products. Okie dokie. So there's the top part of our eyes. We're gonna go ahead and remove the tape. And see how nice and crisp that line is? It makes it so much easier, especially when you go to apply foundation, you know exactly where your line ends. So that way you can make it really pretty. So now what we're gonna go ahead and do is, since that is on, is we're gonna go ahead and curl our lashes. And this eyelash curler, as I've said in many videos before, is super duper old, but it works beautifully. I've had it for 20 years, at least. I was 15 when I purchased it. As long as it works, I will keep using it. We're going to go ahead and apply a little bit of mascara, and I'm using the NARS Audacious Mascara. I've never tried this one. It came as a little sample from my Ulta order, and I figured I would test it out. There we go. Well, I will definitely say this about the mascara. This is not a mascara that I would use on its own. Like, this is not a mascara I would use without false lashes, especially for my top lashes. I mean, it's making them black, but I don't see any super added length or volume. Now we're going to go into our eyelashes, and typically if I wear my eyelashes home, like when I leave for the day, I take a Ziploc bag and put them in there so that way I can reuse them. And if you take care of your eyelashes, you can get a whole lot of uses out of them. Typically, I can get about 10 uses out of a pair of lashes. These Eylure Accent No. 5s are my favorite. And what I'm using the Duo Lash Adhesive, the Brush On Lash Adhesive, and just brushing that on the lash band. And I typically don't put a whole lot on when I'm just filming inside because I want them to be easy to remove. Okay. There we go. Yep. There's my tweezers. There's my... See how quick that went on? Anybody can use false lashes. Anybody. I can put them on because a lot of you may not know, but I am actually legally blind in my right eye. So when I apply, all that I see out of it's blur. So a lot of it is guessing on how to get it on. And a lot of people will wait till their lash glue is almost dry to apply it. I prefer to put it on while it's wet so I can have a little bit of room to play in case I don't place it exactly where I want to in the beginning, which that placement went pretty well as well. There we go. So now what I'm gonna do is just let those sit and dry while I start working on the rest of my face. So we are going to be testing out the Tatcha silk canvas. Now, oh, this smells like expensive skincare, which I'm hoping that it does because I spent a fortune on this primer. This primer is a $52 primer. And I think I put too much on, but we shall see. It's supposed to be blurring. And pore filling. So we shall see how it goes. It feels really nice on the skin, I can say that. Like really, really nice. Let's grab a little bit more for my forehead. I really like how that feels. And so far it's not beating up. Sometimes I have an issue when I'm using a pore filling primer where it wants to beat up on my skin. So far it's not doing that. I have a lot of primer on my face, but it's okay. Because it says use like a tiny little bit, but there we go. I can say, looking at it without anything else on my skin, it does definitely seem to be blurring. My skin feels smoother. Like it does feel like it's filling in the pores a whole lot. And it feels like good skincare as well on the skin. Like it doesn't feel too heavy. And my skin looks smoother, more mattified, or at least in my opinion it does. So, I like that. Now we're going to get into the foundation. And we're using the Can't Stop, Won't Stop foundation in the shade Beige, which it is a little on the warm side, almost yellowish, but I'm using a beauty blender to apply this because I do want to sheer this foundation down. It is supposed to be super matte and super full coverage, but this shade match right here is not my favorite. I might use it to mix into other foundations. But, and I'm not sure if it's the foundation or the primer, it does look really pretty on the skin. So we went and saw Venom today, and that was so cute. Or it was good, not cute. As I said before, my kids love superhero movies, so now we're going to apply a little bit more because you can see some redness coming through. And as I've said before, my skin tends to lead on the oily side. So I like to have a matte finish foundation. Plus it looks really pretty on camera. Let's see. But yeah, the kids really enjoyed it. I cannot wait for the Queen movie to come out. I want to see that so bad. I adore Queen. So, we shall see what we shall see. Okay. I think that is on and good. The only area so far that I'm having a little bit of issue with is my nose. It seems like it's not wanting to stick to the bridge of my nose. But that could be the primer. But we are going to add some concealer and all that fun kind of jazz, so we shall see what we shall see. I do look a little yellow, but the problem I have is, am I supposed to look as brown as my arms, or am I supposed to not? Because as I said, I wear sunscreen daily on my face, so my face does not get near as brown as my arms. But I think I can kind of fix this using some bronzer. We shall see. Now, this is an old concealer. I'm going to be using the Neutralizer Age Rewind. This is the Neutralizer color. To cover my dark circles. Because we stayed up super late last night. We were watching the new series, the Haunting of Hill House, which is really good. It's on Netflix. So if you like anything that has scary to it, I don't want to get too much into it. We finished up 8.5 episodes. And once 2 o'clock ran around, I was like, nope, I can't finish anymore. But it is really good. I want to know what's inside the room. And if you watched it, you will know. Tell me your thoughts on it, or any shows that you recommend. I like a lot of the weird, and I'm really into scary. I love scary movies. Always have. Always will. It is probably my favorite, other than Disney, favorite genre of movie to watch. So the concealer blends in really, really well, and the concealer fixed the issue that I was having on my nose. So, but I have a really oily bridge to my nose. Now what we're gonna dig into is I bought the small container of the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. I've heard so many people rave about that, so it's like, well, I need to try it. And I didn't want to buy the full size because I've had a lot of issues lately with loose setting powders, like more so than normal, about wanting to settle into my lines. So I'm just like, we're gonna do this, but I don't want to spend, you know, the small ones, I think 25 versus almost 50 for the big one. And it's a good way to try it without spending too much. And I always set my whole face, even though it is a matte finish foundation, and it does feel like it's drying down. It's just, I like to have it completely set, and because in our area with our heat and humidity, it does take and melt your face away if you're not setting your face. Okay, that looks nice and pretty, and that is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH01. That is the big fluffy powder brush, and I like to use something like this. It goes on and does pretty things. So to do bronzer today, I'm going to be using the JH02, and we are using the Wet n Wild Color Icon bronzer in the shade Queensland. Oh, that's pretty. See how nice and warm that is? That is definitely fixing the color match issue. With the foundation. Okay. I like that. So let's find a little blender brush. We're going to use the JH31 and just use this to contour the nose. That looks really pretty. And right down here. See, I don't like to do a super harsh nose contour. Now what we're gonna do is go back into the setting powder just a little bit. And press that right into my nose. There we go. I do like how this is coming out so far though. So far, so good. I'm really, really enjoying this. And I really like this eye look. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and blush up our cheeks. I'm using the JH06, which is just a nice blush brush because I don't want anything too hard and heavy since I'm going to be trying out the Zombie Blush from Wet n Wild. And I'm hoping that it goes more rosy than green. Oh, that's not so bad. That got a little heavy right there. So let's take our big powder brush. That has a nice pretty sheen to it without being super duper dramatic, I guess. Now, on our eye look, I'm gonna take the Kat Von D Trooper Liquid Eyeliner, and to make my false eyelashes not so, okay, so all that I did was finish tightlining my eyes. My camera shut off, so I'm sorry. Got powders everywhere. Now, since our lash glue is nice and dry, we can go ahead and curl our top eyelashes again. That helps blend everything together. That is my favorite way to do lashes. So what we're gonna go ahead and do now is work on our lower lash line a bit. So I'm going to go into the shade, since I have more purple on the top, I think I'm gonna go into that shade Firestarter. Yeah. And make my lower lash line more pink. See, I'm keeping that color very tight into the lash line, and now I'm just gonna take a clean brush. This is clean, it's just stained a little bit. The JH35 and buff it out. Oh, that looks good. And I think I'm going to take my Urban Decay Perversion Glide On 24/7 eyeshadow pencil. This is just a black eyeliner. And we're going to go and use that on our waterline. Typically that makes your eyes look smaller, as you can see, but it does add a bit of drama to it as well, which is the look I am going for. There we go. Oh, that looks pretty. So now what we're gonna go ahead and do is add some mascara to the bottom lashes. I feel like I have something in the side. which is probably from poking it or something. Who knows? Let's see. What did I do with my mascara? I just had it up here. Oh, there it is. But I do think that this Audacious mascara, yes, will work really well for the lower lash line. Most definitely. I like that. I like that a lot. Now we need to highlight, well, let's go ahead and do our brows and then we'll highlight the inner corner. So I'm going to use my typical Too Faced brow palette. I'm using the blonde shade for the front part of my brows, which is typically what I do. And then I take and drag the brunette shade and fill in the rest. Anyways, I definitely can say that for the most part, Netflix and Hulu are definitely killing the TV game. There's a lot of things on there that I have really been enjoying. Like, I can't wait for another season of Stranger Things. My brows look a little cool toned, and I never noticed that as part of this palette before, but I think it's because my skin is so warm today. Anyways, now brows are on. Now let's do a little inner corner highlight. We're going to use the JH38, and we're going to go into this shade right here, the actually Electric Air. I think I'm going to mix that a little bit with Luna and just pop that right on that inner corner. Yes. That looks pretty. Now, for the brow bone highlight, I don't want to use that because it's so dramatic. I'm going to go into the Fenty Kilowatt highlighter in Lightning Dust and just use ever so slightly to highlight the brow bone. Now we're going to highlight the face. And I'm using the JH09, and I'm going back into that Fire Crystal shade. And we're gonna go ahead and highlight the cheekbone, the tip of the nose, there we go. Sorry for that little interruption, but we'll go ahead and get back into the makeup. And to line my lips today, I'm going to use the Urban Decay Ozone lip liner. It is a clear lip liner that works with any shade lipstick. Also filling them in just a little bit. Now we're going to go into the shade Riot by Lime Crime. Just a good nude, pinky nude for this look. I love the way they smell. They smell like cupcakes. Grab a little makeup wipe. There we go. Now all that's left to do is add some MAC Fix Plus. Turn it on. And we are done. I really like this makeup look. I'm loving the lipstick color. It feels nice and comfortable. The eye look is my favorite thing, and I definitely like the Elementals palette. I'm going to be playing with some more of the colors, but we did test out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the shades. So I really do enjoy this. But the showstopper of the day, I have to admit, is the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit in When the Stars Align. I mean, this eye look is just absolutely stunning. So if you like this type of video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Other than that, I guess that's it. So we'll see you in the next one.